Hello, 22 Tony here with my latest discussion on collecting vintage and antique ammo. Today I'd like to talk a little bit more to the advanced collector, and we want to talk about two-piece boxes. From the time that modern cartridges were introduced in the mid-1800s, even prior to the Civil War, and up through about the mid-1920s, the cartridges were packed in two-piece boxes. Now here's just one example. This is a Winchester box, and you can see it's very proudly marked smokeless. This one was circa 1905 to maybe 1910, somewhere in that range. This is actually the oldest two-piece box I have in my collection. Not bad condition. You can still read everything. You can see that the label was not printed on the box. It was a label that was attached to the box, and it's seen a few tatters here, but still a nice part of my collection. This particular box is very rare, very hard to find this exact box. You can't see, but it is empty. And normally I try to buy full boxes only, but when one this rare comes along and I got it at a good price, you definitely want to add that to your collection. So let me show you a few other examples of two-piece boxes. Here I've got a little bit later Winchester. This particular one's probably circa about 1920. It was towards the end of the two-piece boxes. You can see that it does have an opening across the middle, as opposed to the earlier box that was a full overlap. This box had a wraparound label that it wrapped around the side and onto the bottom. It's still fairly good condition for a box that's pushing 100 years old, if not 100 years old. This one's wrapped in plastic. I can't show you the ammo inside, but it was actually fairly clean. I'm guessing it's probably still shootable today. Now, I certainly wouldn't want to do that, but it wouldn't surprise me if these cartridges would fire today. But just a few more examples I've got here. This is probably one of the later Remington boxes as far as two-piece boxes goes. This is one of Type 2 Remington box. You can't see, but it's kind of molded that the top here is indented, and then a label was placed into that indentation. This is another empty box. Again, I got it at the right price, and it was worth it to me to pick up the empty box, even though I would have certainly preferred full. But when you're talking a box that's pushing 100 years old, full boxes aren't always available. But this one's in the box itself, fairly good condition. You can still read everything on it, and not too bad. And the last one I want to show you today, this is a little bit earlier Remington box. This one's probably 1911 to 1915, somewhere in that range. It's clearly pretty rough condition, but it did have the ammo inside, and you can see the ammo's packed like the paper one-piece boxes are up till today, the ones without the plastic inserts, with one shell going every other direction, or one cartridge going every other direction. Now, again, rough condition. This isn't the type of box that I would normally go out looking for, but again, it came to me on a tray lot. There were about 8 or 10 boxes, I believe, on the tray. This was the only two-piece box, and I don't remember what I paid, probably in the $30 to $40 range for the whole tray lot. I sold most of the other boxes that were on the tray, and this ended up not costing me anything, so it's certainly not a bad deal for nothing. Now, that brings up the question of value, and this is something everybody always asks me. What are the value of these boxes? Well, let's look at this, the later Remington box. Pretty good condition, even empty, because these are rare. This is probably a $15 to $20 box empty. If it were full, you'd be looking at, in this condition, probably $50 or $60. The full Winchester box, again, this is one of the later two-piece boxes. This particular one I did buy at auction, and I wanted it for my collection, and I paid pretty much full retail for it. I paid $40 for this. At a cartridge show, it might bring a little bit more, not a huge amount more, but it's probably a $40 to $50 box. Now, the first one I showed you, the empty Winchester box, this is an early box, very hard to find. Well, not too early. I don't have any 19th century boxes, but for a 1905, 1910 era box, very difficult to find this particular one. This is a very rare box. Even empty, you're probably at a gun show looking retail value at least $20 and maybe more on that particular box. That box full of 22 shorts, you could be pushing close to $100 for that box. Well, again, this is just a little example of what I wanted to show you today. There's hundreds and hundreds of different two-piece boxes available. They go back to the mid-19th century. This is just designed to, maybe make you think a little bit. This isn't necessarily for the beginning collector unless you have very deep pockets. Spending $20, $30, $40, $50 a box to build a collection is probably more than most beginning collectors would want to do. But for a little bit more advanced collector, I think this is probably the logical next step from the modern one-piece boxes, is to go a little bit older, a little bit more valuable, a little bit harder to find, and spend a little bit of time and build yourself a collection. Well, I hope you like my videos. As always, these aren't designed to give you answers. They're designed to make you think. I hope you enjoyed it, and please feel free to share and leave comments. And thanks again. Bye.